dun.
Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted. With me are my colleagues,
Dave,
Ryan,
Nate.
And today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition Humans. It's not a lot to say here, but what do you guys think?
Well, they're everywhere!
What do you want to do? Well, that's actually the problem in previous editions.
Yeah, they freaking reproduce like rabbits. This human problem is just a real problem, I tell you.
Not in first edition and second edition. I feel like nobody ever wanted to play a human. It wasn't until third edition that
they totally stunk. Unless you wanted the dual class, human was completely lame in second edition.
I thought this was a hygiene issue, really. Negative stick to charisma. And
No, they didn't get no negatives of charisma.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a metaphorical stink.
Right, yeah, yeah. Well, so no, they were everywhere, but as PCs,
They were
not
nowhere.
everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. It was really different.
You know, if you look at essentially the mechanics of it, there was not a lot of appeal prior to 3rd edition to play a human. You know, it was just like, let me go do this. Humans don't make good adventurers.
Well, it was very Tolkien-esque in a sense. I mean, how many humans? There was the riders, but you spent so much time with elves and hobbits and running from orcs. I mean, really, and dwarves.
Yeah, there was humans in there. I mean, Aragorn was.
Yeah,
was
oh yeah.
humans.
They were there.
He was human, but he was a special.
Boromir, you know, the companions.
Yeah, but okay. Here's always been my problem with humans throughout the editions. They're just boring. There's nothing exciting about playing a human because I get to do that every day in my normal life. I've seen people argue, well, everyone wants to be one of the demihuman races because they get stuff. While getting stuff is kind of cool, the cool part for me actually was just not being human. You know, it's a fantasy role-playing game. You know, it's a chance for me to not be me. And I'm human already. But in 3rd edition, they said, you know what? It's kind of weird that there's all these humans and then they're the most prevalent race in the game, but no one's playing a human.
And they're not very incentivized to want to be one.
So they incentivize people to play human.
Yep, the creation of the feat, and the humans got one at first level.
And the stat bonuses that you could put wherever you want. So that
Did they get stat bonuses?
I think they got a couple of stat bonuses that you could put in.
Or was that Pathfinder?
At least in Pathfinder, I know that I think it was a couple of +2s that most races got a net of at least a +2 or +4 or whatever, but the humans got 2 +2s, I believe, that they could.
Because they got an extra skill and they got an extra skill point and an extra feat in 3rd for sure. It's been so long since we played 3rd. But I can tell you, in 5th edition, they definitely get a +1 to every stat.
If you go the baseline.
The baseline.
And then they speak common, and they get a bonus language.
Yep.
Now, if you use the variant, that's where things change. They get 2 +1s. You can't put them in the same stat.
Right.
You get the bonus language. You get a bonus non-weapon proficiency.
Skill
Proficiency.
Right. Or, talking in 2nd edition talk.
We're going back to 2nd edition talk here.
After a while, all 5 of them just blur together for me. And then if you're using feats, they can take the feat option.
And, you don't know how ridiculous that is. I mean, like, if you take anyone who's got, like, any class that gets heavy armor, taking heavy armor master, getting essentially what, in 3rd edition would call DR3 at first level, I think is
and
just
a bump
ridiculous.
to your strength or con.
It's just strength.
Just only strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really get 3 +1s. One of them is strength and DR3.
And or you can put and you can double up on that 1 +1.
Yeah.
So you can put a +2 in strength.
So that in and of itself, is pretty incredible. Now, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of other, really good feats out there. There's lots of things that you can choose to say, okay, well, this class only gives me light armor. I want to go to medium, or this only gives me medium. I want to go to heavy. So you can start making a lot of those.
I want to know more cantrips and cast a spell a day or something. They really fundamentally change your character.
Absolutely.
Or I want to be a better healer than the cleric.
Right.
So what is there, like 39 feats or something?
Something like that.
So you essentially have that many options or variations on human, and then like 13 of them give you a stat bump.
And starting at first level, it does really fundamentally change where your starting position, because Polearm Master I thought was really great, and there's Sentinel, and there's a whole bunch of them that are just really good to just add that little variation to your fighter that none of the
Well,
other
there's
races
a lot.
are going to get.
There's a couple combat ones that will augment your fighting ability, but there's a lot of feats that I feel essentially give you a multi-class or a dabble of a multi-class,
Like Magic Initiate.
without actually having to go through
Step out of it, yeah.
without actually leaving your class, putting you further away from those higher level abilities. So I think that's the ultimate option for multi-classing. Just be like, all right, well, let me dabble in a couple of these feats, and I never leave my path of fighter or whatever.
Or, gives you something new, like alertness. Where you can't be surprised unless you're incapacitated. You get a +5 to initiative, and you get
Which
something
is
else, too.
crazy.
So...
Yeah, alertness is pretty sweet. So...
There's the good one for Wizard, Observant.
Observant is awesome. Photographic memory. A bonus to one of your mental stats.
Yep.
And a +5 to your passive perception and investigate checks.
That's just crazy.
I think like a human rogue with Observant
Doesn't miss shit.
Yeah,
That's really what it comes down to.
and if you take your expertise
In perception? Oh my
Perception
god.
forward.
yeah.
Traps. Nah.
It's like, I got that shit.
Be like, I have so much trouble sleeping. I hear stuff all the time.
You're just like, I'm going to walk by every wall and every door. No, I'm not actively looking at anything
No.
because your chance to find it
I'm
goes
just
down.
whistling and humming that song I heard last night at the end.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So
Trap.
there's not a whole lot to say about humans. I mean, the fluff is whatever you want it to be. I mean, they list a bunch of them just because I feel like they needed to put stuff in
They
there.
had cool names in there. I think that's a good
Yeah,
variety of
they're-
names.
I think most of
cultural
them
things.
are from Forgotten Realms.
Mm-hmm.
But let's face it, we all know what a human is.
Right.
More or less.
Yeah.
More or less.
You see them everywhere you go, even if you don't call yourself one.
That's right.
I guess there's that.
Alien, baby.
So yeah, so really, I mean, there is nowhere for us to go on this video. I think, other than we've talked about the mechanical crunch
And
and the incentive to play humans in 5th edition.
It's still there. It was there in 3rd. I believe it was there in 4th. There's options to say, yes, I want to play a human. You sit back and you read the player's handbook, and when I first started playing D&D, there were so many wonderful races to choose from. I had no desire to play a human. There was 20, 30 characters through my 2nd edition of career, and none of them were humans because they're freaking boring. But in 3rd and later editions, they say, you know what, we'll make you want to play a human.
Humans. They're feety. That's it.
Yeah, or Skilly,
Or skilly. Very skilly. That's right.
not to be confused with Scaly. That would be a Dragonborn.
That would be a Dragonborn. With dragon boobs. That's right.
You guys and your dragon boobs.
Yeah.
So with
Let's
that,
look
click
closer.
like, comment, subscribe, even share.
Check us out at nerdarchy.com.
Or even Facebook.
You can check us out at Reddit, at the subreddit Nerdarchy, How to Stay Nerdy.
Well, all right, you humans. Stay
Stay
nerdy,
nerdy.
and we'll see you next time.